protocols early to return for tonight's matchup against the Clippers. After initially being placed into a 10-day quarantine, the league released a statement saying additional testing confirmed that he is not a positive case. So, Shannon, what do you make of the NBA's explanation of this?
Well, it just explains LeBron's tweet, LeBron's IG post, where it says something is fishy because they sent him on a private jet back from Sacramento on Monday. He tests negative Monday twice. He tests negative Tuesday twice. He tests negative Wednesday twice. He tests negative Thursday twice. He's like, hold on, bro. How can I be positive and I keep showing negative tests? And that's what he says, something fishy going on here, Skip. Something's not adding up. He's like, okay, I'm keep testing negative, and you guys keep telling me I need to be in protocol, I need to be out for 10 days. How does that make sense? So that's why you saw the level of frustration, because Skip, I'm like, well, why would he quit? I mean, LeBron would really think. I get fans. Anytime, Skip, a bad call, yep, they got the Cowboys on this one, or they took the over on that one, or they took the under on this one. But I've never seen a player, especially a player of LeBron's caliber, like, bro, you really think the NBA got it in for you because of the Isaiah Stewart situation, because you were so vocal and your disapproval of how they handled your situation? Bro, LeBron believes that? So now it makes perfect sense to me. He's back in LA. He's testing negative. Obviously, the NBA are getting these tests. He's like, well, bro, what's going on? How am I keep testing negative and you keep telling me I still got to be out for 10 days? Something's not adding up here. And so finally, after the last final test that he took, and it was negative, and it says, okay, but you know, if anybody could do this, I told you, anybody could be, that's why he the GOAT. Beat COVID in 2 days. That what Go James did.
No, he did not.
He beat it.
That is a lie.
Beat it.
It's a lie because the NBA in their statement said he did not test positive, so he beat nothing.
Well, then he beat nothing. Why you put him in protocol then? If he tested positive for nothing, why you put him there?
I don't know. Okay, let's preface what I'm about to say with the fact that, as you well know, when it comes to any form of medical testing, it's never 100% reliable.
No.
We're just not there. We're still trying to figure it out.
We're never going to get there.
We're never going to get there. How many tests, they can come back. You can have false positives. It's testing for PEDs. It's not an exact science.
Correct.
You got to be careful with it. You need numerous tests to make sure.
Correct.
That's why they run B samples and C samples.
To make sure.
Okay, I'm just going to read again from the ESPN story about this, and this came from the league. The league was very transparent and issued a 5-paragraph statement about how this all went down. Okay, so it says, the sample that produced the initial positive test was rerun twice. This is on the 29th of November. Rerun twice and returned one negative and one positive result on 2 different types of tests. As a result, James underwent additional testing on November 30th, the next day, with one test returning a negative result and the second test resulting in a clinically inconclusive result. Well, since then, he's tested 8 times, according to this story. All of them negative. That's why so quickly the NBA said, we sign off. You can play. You can go. Go play the Clippers tonight at Staples. What just happened? Because they have concluded off what I just read you that he did not, in fact, test positive.
It was a false positive.
Well, was it a false positive? From what I just read you, it's murky at best. It feels like, it comes across like the testing looks foolish to me. It looks amateurish to me. So when LeBron was told of all this craziness, he then tweets, something is real, emojis, fishy, 5 fishy emojis going on. Something is real fishy going on. Well, he should have just tweeted, I did not test positive. Because that's the bottom line to this. That's what they announced. You did not test positive. He should have said, I did not test positive, instead of sort of dropping a suspicion of a conspiracy theory against him, because now there's no, unless the league is trying to backtrack and try to spin control it a little bit to look like it wasn't trying to take it out on LeBron for the way he fired back at them for getting suspended.
Skip, you and I was making a joke, and I should not have made a joke of a situation that LeBron beat COVID in 2 days. I'm glad to hear it was a false positive, because he did have one positive test into those negative tests, because they said he had a sample, it was negative, they retested it, it was positive, and it seems like he had two positive and one, because the other story that they wrote, Skip, he had one negative and two positives, and therefore they went with the two positives.
This is making my head hurt.
Exactly. Yeah. So now he comes back and he tests and he retests and he retests and he tests again and he tests again. He's like, hold on, something fishy. So how if I'm positive, I'm getting all these negative tests right now?
And the incredible irony is, this is the face of the league, man. This is your most popular player.
Right.
Your most valuable gate attraction.
Yes.
Is LeBron Ramon James.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you just put him through this ringer that you put him through? What is this about?
Right.
You did cost him a game, and it was your fault, or the testing.
But they wanted to fortunate they were able to win that ball game.
They won the game, and weirdly, they had their greatest surge of the season.
They did.
From sort of mid-third quarter on, they won 66-25. 66-25 without the King at the Kings.
Right.
I can't even explain that. So it was one weird night followed by another.
Right.
So they had to send him home. They won. And now, I guess all's well that ends well, because he's 100% healthy and he's back for the Clippers.
Yes.
And they are favored by a grand total of 1.5 at Staples. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They're 12-11, and the Clippers are 11-11.
Yeah.
So is this possible they should play this game in the basement? Because do they not both belong in the basement of Staples?
Both of these teams have been very disappointed, and I think we can understand why the Clippers, because Kawhi hadn't been there. They've been without the service of their best player all year, and you believe he's not going to play at all this season.
He's
so
gone.
With that being said, look, it just seems to me the NBA is going to be very, very cautious. They're not trying to lose any more money, Skip, because remember, they shut this thing down, and how they ended up having to play, they had to resume 8 games, play the finals, just try to recoup some money, and then they sped it back up, and in about 60 days, they had to start a new season. So the NBA says, you know what, we're going to be very, very cautious. We're going to be overly cautious. And if we think if you test positive, we'll get you out. You keep retesting, and then you test the negative enough, we'll bring you back. But we're going to err on the side of caution. We're not having another shutdown.
No.
That's the last thing the NBA wants, Skip. In the NFL, the same thing. And I think if the NFL, if you're serious, you said all the money that you lost, okay. Well, you got to, when guys do stuff like what happened with AB and with Rodgers, you got to punish them for that.
Yep.
And I ain't talking about no slaps on the wrist.
No. So the best news here is, for me, LeBron James, not positive, was never contagious, was never a threat to his teammates or his family or his friends. And what did I tell you right out of the box when we first heard the news? I think it was on Wednesday's show. I told you how much it shook me up the night before to hear that even LeBron got COVID.
I know a guy that had he been vaccinated, he might have could have played in a Thursday game.
Oh, I remember that guy.
Yeah, I know a guy, had he been vaccinated, Skip.
That guy, Amari Cooper, is that who you're talking about?
Him or Rodgers.
Oh, or Aaron Rodgers. That's
who we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah, by the way, Amari managed 24 total snaps last night because he is still suffering the effects of COVID. He's got a little cough, not contagious, but coughing.
The breathing. Remember Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown says he's still, Jason Tatum saying the same thing. I'm trying to get back to where I was pre-COVID.
Cam was never the same last year after he got COVID. Agreed.
So I'm glad everything worked out.
Everything's okay. Your man's okay. Here we go. Trouble tonight, but that's a whole nother
I don't see that happening.
Oh,
Do you see what the Kings did to you guys?
Well.
Well, let's get back to last night's game. Was that the spark Skip's Cowboys needed to make a deep play?